Hi, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of our YOUnify podcast. My name is Brandyn Keating. I'm the co-founder and CEO of YOUnify, a nonprofit organization helping you flourish and thrive, and the host of our podcast. We have a very special episode tonight. We are here live in a beautiful Los Angeles home with a beautiful crowd of people and with a very special person who embodies leadership for flourishing, a thing that we care a lot about in YOUnify. I'm delighted to be here with Michael Blake, who has a journey that spans public service, empowerment for young men of color, civic engagement, community transformation, from his early days growing up in the Bronx to championing minority-owned businesses and opportunity for all, stops at the White House, serving, and also in the New York State Assembly. He has dedicated his life to making sure that more people can access the tools that they need to flourish and thrive. And now he's expanding that journey with a candidacy to be a member of Congress. So Michael, thank you so much for being with us today. And your early life in the Bronx and your parents' immigrant experience really shaped your path, I understand. How did that upbringing inform your understanding of leadership and of flourishing?
Well, first, I appreciate what you're doing because we need more critical voices that are actually changing the game in this way, especially as we are watching effectively traditional media too often is being pushed and dictated to say things that are not fully true and accurate. And so I just want to give you your flowers before we do anything else there. You know, Jamaica is everything for me, right? You know, I'm born and raised in the Bronx, but I'm very clear that my story is made and how I am and who I am because of Jamaica. You know, my mom would tell me about the moments of when she was there, when Selassie came to Jamaica and everyone stopped at the airport and effectively 100,000 were there because they saw this man who was this titan from Ethiopia that arrived and came there, right? When, you know, Daddy would talk about how he wanted to be a cop, you know, and when they came to the States, you know, my mom worked for 40 years in a manufacturing plant, raising 4 boys, and we were active in our church. My daddy, you know, worked at St. Barnabas Hospital as a janitor. Dad drove the church van. Mom was a part of the choir. My godparents led communion. I mean, that's just how we just got down, right? And so it to me, too often, we're not embracing the beauty and greatness of immigrants in all that we do, right? And there's like a selective appreciation of the power of immigrants, right? You know, it's like, okay, the food that we eat, the clothes that we drive, the clothes that we wear, the cars we drive, all the different things that are a part of this make us better. And, you know, I was saying this a little bit earlier, I'm named after arguably the 2 most prominent Jamaican politicians in our history, Michael Manley and Alexander Bustamante. And the world is watching right now Jamaica in many ways. And, you know, Hurricane Melissa was arguably the most devastating hurricane that's ever hit the island. But I tell people, think about how many folks have now stopped talking about the hurricane after about 2 to 3 weeks, right? You have, you know, folks who talk to us about our oxtail, our curry goat, our beef patties, our reggae, and then they forgot that a massive hurricane just happened where you have a third of the island that's still wondering, will they have a roof at some point? And so I think that adds to my life experience, right? Because when that is your upbringing, it shapes how I move, right? I love helping people. Right? I genuinely love helping people. And when you have parents that put that in you from the beginning, that just stays with you now. My mom will call me. She'll see something in the news, and in real time, she wants to talk about the news. I'm like, okay, all right, what we say? I can't believe they did this. I agree, Mama. I agree. I can't believe they did that either, right? And you have this moment where in my house, there's a stream of photos that are in my living room to be that consistent through line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have the photo of my mom holding my hand right when I knew that I was going to win my first race, right? There's a photo of my daddy and I, because we would always go to the same diner for my birthday on Christmas Day. There's a photo of Brooke and I from the wedding, right? And then there's this like family grouping of a montage that's there. And in the middle of that is the Jamaican flag, right? Like that's
Central. Yeah.
central to how I move, because that's how I am.
Amazing. So for people, I know you've got a lot of close friends here tonight, but for people who maybe
I'm afraid of what they will say.
for people who maybe only know you through public life, what might surprise somebody about you?
I love bowling.
You do?
Yeah, I love bowling. I don't get to do it. I really love cosmic bowling.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tell me. So what is cosmic bowling? Tell me
Cosmic bowling. You never did me cosmic bowling?
I've done cosmic
Okay,
bowling,
correct,
but maybe
correct.
some people who are watching don't
Cosmic
know.
bowling, like that's like a little party vibe, man. That's when they have
with the
like the lights and the
music,
music.
lights, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know what that did.
See?
But like cosmic bowling, like that's the energy that's there. You know, I love bowling. I don't know. I was thinking about this, like what's something that you really really like, right? Bowling has just like great energy about it, right?
Yeah.
It kind of just grounds the playing field out the gate for everybody. So yeah, love bowling. Definitely cosmic bowling. Yeah, that got my mind going right there.
Fair game. All right.
Yeah.
Cosmic bowling.
Yeah.
Don't do this move. He'll make
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm with it.
all right. So coming back to your work in civic engagement and empowering others, one thing that I've always appreciated you is that you're not just talking about the change that you want to make, you're actually putting points on the board. You're making the change. So how have you been able to do that? How have you been able to take an idea and bring it into something that actually changes the lives of real people in the real world?
I've been through some just real shit, right? Like I was born with a heart murmur. So in my house, right above the dining table, is a portrait of the Lord's Supper. I did not realize until I got older. My mom told me right before my dad passed in 2013, that they bought it for me because they wanted the Lord to watch over me in case I didn't make it, and then after I did, right? I didn't know that when I was a kid. I just all I knew was everywhere we moved, the Lord's Supper was always somewhere nearby. You Black and you Christian, you just presume, okay, it's just here. But I say, okay, well, that's why it's here. I was born on Christmas Day, so that also probably adds to it, there, right? So like when you start from that place, and then 2001, I fell asleep at the wheel. If it's not for the luggage in the car that weighed the car down, we were driving back from Evanston, and my freshman year. My boy got a little tired. He asked me to start driving. I was driving. We saw a sign that said next rest stop in 60 miles. I should have stopped. About a few seconds later, I woke up to doing a 360 on the highway in Pennsylvania. And it's nothing but God. Literally, because it was freshman year, and y'all understand this from college. You coming back freshman year, there's just a bunch of college cars. The luggage in the car weighed the car down when we hit the dirt. One lane our way, one lane the other way. There's no car behind us. There was no car coming in front, and there was no rail. So we did 360 in the dirt, just hit the dirt and just stopped, right? That's just nothing but God. About 6 days before that, I wrote out something to myself. I was a part of the Freshman Emerging Leaders Program, and it's still on my mom's fridge. It said, "Dear God, when I want this to be my greatest day, greater than the great day the day before, but my goal has not been met unless tomorrow's the greatest of all." And then the accident happened like a week thereafter.
Wow.
So I think to the question, right, I really center myself that for whatever are the reasons in this dash of life, which is birth to death, God gave me 2 chances, right? Because I could have been out both times. And if public service is the route, which for me it is, then I'm going to spend every waking moment to help people, right? And so any of y'all that are around me know that I am on my cell phone all the time. And it is because I am constantly trying to think about, like, what are we doing, right? That person needs food. Okay, what we're going to do to help them with food. That person needs a job. What we're going to need a job. That person's calling. Okay, what are we going to do? Because at the end of the day, there's a heavy vulnerability when someone says, I need help.
Very true. Yeah.
Right? So like for me, if someone is willing to come to you saying, I need help, and I'm going to be like, I'm too busy. Well, that could shut off that person for you never know how long, right? Right. Even if I give them a few seconds of, okay, let me hear what's going on, right? Which I think added to the print. I mean, I'm an ordained reverend, right? I think that's part of that journey. You know, I'm an alpha. I'm a 100 Black man. I'm a Jack and Jill dad. I'm a Prince Hall Mason. I mean, like literally, you know, the Black man checklist is a lot of things right there, right? Because at the end of the day, I just want to help people, and I do believe fundamentally there is no greater way to help at scale than public service.
And so thinking about how you help people both in the individual level and through public service on that journey, I know that you have cultivated leadership in others as well. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you do that.
Our vision is called Kairos. Kairos is the other definition of time. It means opportunities to create moments. Chronos is the chronological one. That's what people talk about a lot. I talk about Kairos all the time, and how we move. And we have a network of leaders that we cultivate regularly. And I ask them pretty constantly, what is your why? Because when someone can really articulate their why, they move differently.
Very true, yeah.
Move differently. Because a lot of times you're spending your day just doing, right? But like, is this part of your why? I had a mentor say to me years ago that there's a difference between activity and progress. Right? There's a lot of people that do busy work, but they can't tell you why they do it. So like to our crew, what is your why? What is that thing that when it hits the fan, it keeps you going, right? And then within Kairos, our vision is around conscious capitalism. Like you can and you should be able to make money and make impact, right? Because anything you're trying to do in life, you have to have money to pay for that, right? But you want to have the right conscious around it. And so we're constantly cultivating that next generation of leaders. And I try to do this here, you know. I was trained by, like, I think President Obama is the best political organizer of this generation, right? I mean, the man is Barack Hussein Obama, and we won in Iowa, right? Like, right? I mean, like, it's just like, you know, and for those, again, like Adia was with me during the training program. Lauren was with me in college times, but like, I was working in the state of Michigan. This to your question, I was working in the state of Michigan, working for the speaker, and I had just finished working on a few different things, right? And this was like, okay, I want to do more. I want to do more. Then you get a chance, you get that phone call to go to Iowa, right? I was in Iowa March 3rd, 2007. I think I was like the 10th staffer or something like that there. To your question, when you see someone like him change a nation, right? Because we were very clear and we understood we had to win Iowa. Had to. Other campaigns could come in third or fourth. That wasn't an option for us. This Black man had to win Iowa, right? So there was a different level of pressure that we had. And then we won Iowa, and then everyone thought we were going to win in New Hampshire, and then we didn't.
We did not.
Right? Right? And then I always said, Iowa started this thing, South Carolina saved this thing, right? And then once we got past South Carolina, we understood we just have to be within about 100 delegates for Super Tuesday. And if we do this, we're going to be fine because of what we built. And I say this to your question, that when you're part of something like that, which they won't be replicated, like there'll be other generational leaders, but won't be replicated. It made a leadership mindset that fits for me. So still now, in my first assembly race that we won, we had a scenario where I was walking up the block, and we had like Obama literature, things like this. And this little kid was like, "Aren't you the Obama guy?" I was like, I am the. I was like, "How do you know that?" He said, "My mama has your literature on our fridge." She's like, you the Obama guy."
Yeah.
And so I think from a leadership standpoint, we all want to be inspired by something, right? We all want to pursue the higher angels. And I think a lot of times in life, we are moving with things that don't excite us. And true leadership gets you to see your calling even when you can't. And if I can do that through politics and do that through this race, then we've done something special.
Amazing. So you, as you just alluded to, have made a big decision to jump into this race.
Just a casual thing out here.
Which has brought all of us here together tonight. And curious about, what do you want this group to know? What do you want everybody who might be watching or listening to know about why you decided to take that casual big leap? What you hope to accomplish and how they can all be part of the journey.
We're in a moment in time that is generational, right? In which I do believe 2026 is going to be one of those years, similar to '08, similar to, for the previous generations, the '68 elections. Like, there's those generational years that you will remember what happened, right? And we are on the edge in this country. We have a fascist dictator as president. We have a man who does not give a damn about the people. I mean, we just had recent news that TSA is sharing information with ICE to make it easier for them to find people. Like this is just, we're just in a new era, right? Right. For us, they had wild things back in the day. And so I think for me in this moment of running for Congress, it's not just about you have to win a seat. Right? I do think you need to have the right type of a real Democrat in the seat. Right? Voting for a bill that did not guarantee healthcare protections is unconscionable to me. After everything we did to get the Affordable Care Act, I just don't even understand. People will be like, "Well, there was a government shutdown." You understood when you shut down the government that you didn't have ACA, so you should have just kept going, right? Because the other side's not going to give you healthcare. They just proved it because they had a chance and the bill just came before them. They said no anyway. So they're effectively telling you, "I wanted you to decide between groceries and your healthcare." Unconscionable, right? And so, one, I want to be very clear that elections about change and contrast, and Richie Torres is an awful elected official, right? This is a man who voted with Republicans on the Laken-Riley Act to increase deportation by ending due process. This is a man who is literally making money right now by investing in the bombs makers in the war, where a genocide is happening. And I'm very clear. I want to stay there for a second, because as a ordained reverend who's been to Israel twice, I'm attentive when I use these words. It is okay to say that what happened on October 7th was reprehensible for all sides. Hostages happen on both sides. But if we are unable to say that a genocide is happening when 50,000 people of color are literally losing their lives, I don't know what we're talking about right now, right? Like, that's just silly to me that you're unable to say that. He refuses to say that. It is the poorest congressional district in America. You have a district where people are wondering how they're going to make it home. And so we have big ideas that we want to make happen. And when people come up to me like, "Okay, Michael Blake, why are you running for Congress? What do you want to do?" Housing and childcare are the two biggest expenses that people have to deal with. Right now in New York, 1 out of 4 New Yorkers cannot afford essentials. Right? I think we should end using credit scores for housing applications. And I think we need to increase income limits on housing applications. Credit scores is a racist discriminatory policy. You pay your rent on time. That is a better barometer on if you should do something than did you miss a cell phone bill 10 years ago. There is nothing about that makes any common sense, other than I'm trying to make it harder for you to increase your credit, which then makes it harder for you to own a home, which home ownership is tied to gender equity. Mm-hmm. Too often you have women that are staying in relationships because they don't have access to owning a home and the financial security that comes from that. And credit scores is part of that dynamic there. when you think about what happens around immigration, I do think there should be an immigrant bill of rights, because you right now have immigrants who are wondering, can I make it home? I leave my house, I drop off my kid at school, I'm wondering if I can get back in the car. I am wondering if I can go to my church. I'm wondering if I can go to the grocery store. 2026, when the World Cup is happening, you're going to have people that are trying to figure out, do I go to this sporting event? I don't know, because at any moment, ICE might roll up on me. That is not the country we should have. I do believe we should have Medicare for all. I do believe we should be canceling student debt and have student loan forgiveness. I do believe we should be very intentional around how we expand My Brother's Keeper and My Sister's Keeper program, so you have a better focus on helping the next generation when it comes to education. I do believe we can have our higher angels here. And we are in a moment where people want to see that we're real. And in the mayoral primary, which I ran for mayor, I cross-endorsed Jerome and he cross-endorsed me because we both were talking about cost of living. We're talking about affordability. And people want to know that you're going to be real. So at the end of the day, we have someone who is not helping us in Richie Torres. I just want to help our people. And in order to do that, when you are running against a machine in APAC, which I've been very transparent, I have been on this journey. I've been on an APAC trip. I've been at APAC events. I walked away from what that is, because you get to see and you get your propaganda that's given to you. You recognize that is not who we need to be. Plus, you can't ignore what happened on October 7th. Like, obviously changes who you are when you see that. He is going to be very fully funded. And our job has to be that we have grassroots momentum from around the country that supports us. It's the reason why the former Mayor de Blasio already endorsed our campaign. It's the reason why the Alliance of South Asian American Labor endorsed our campaign. It's the reason why Veterans Action Now has already endorsed our campaign. We're showing people something. And what we need now is for people to believe in us and believe in the Bronx.
So we're going to have links below so that you can connect with Michael and the campaign if you would like to do so. And we also invite you to spread the message about leadership for flourishing by clicking like and subscribe. And we're going to take a couple questions now. So if anybody has a question, if you want to raise a hand, we'll come over and grab your question.
Yeah, I've been leaning in heavy, like,
Shannon.
Well, Michael, first, I'd like to say thank you for staying so engaged in these dark times. I think it has been really difficult for a lot of us, especially those of us that have been so engaged. It's been disheartening, to say the least. And it's really toxic out there. So it's really inspiring to be here tonight and to hear you speak. I wish that you could be running to represent more of us right now. It's an honor to be here supporting you. And I wanted to thank you for your leadership within our Obama family too, because you've stayed really strong representing us. And it's been a little hard these past couple of years, because it's been a little divisive with some of these issues, even within our family, which we're not quite used to. So thank you for everything you've done. And I suppose my question would be, when are you going to be back in LA? Because the next time I'd like to invite a lot more people from my personal network to support you, because this one at least came to me on fairly short notice. And I think that a lot of people would be really, really excited here to support you.
I mean, that's a vibe right there. Okay. We first, thank you. I do think I'll answer the very direct question. We're going to be out here a lot, right? No, I'm not sure when we're airing. I know December 27th is a next event, but we're going to have a lot of events, right? Across the country, definitely out here. So we'll get that info there. I guess it goes back to your leadership question. I think being around a man who talked about hope and change all the time, that sat with me. I mean, my screensaver is when I was an assembly member. It's when I brought President Obama to the Bronx. Man, it's literally my screensaver. Him throwing up the X, right? Because you can watch in real time when someone sees that. They're like, wait, you know him. I was like, no, I mean, like he was my boss. Right? He is my boss, right? I remember the times, playing Uno with the girls on the bus, right? That's real black out here, right? You're playing Uno, right? You know, and I just think that Trump and his fascist crew want to exhaust us, right? Because if they exhaust us, then we stop caring, right? That it's real intentional in how they're moving, right? But they also have a discipline that we can't ignore. That if we get exhausted, we're going to miss how they move, right? And so for me, if we can keep giving hope to people, right, then something special can happen. And I do believe as more people keep hearing about what we're doing, we can do some amazing things.
Love that combination of hope and discipline.
That's right. That's it.
Is there one more question?
Oh, wow. There was like 4 hands that went up. Oh, well, go to Cookie first, and then can we do more than one? Is that all right?
As many as you want.
Okay,
Sure,
that's
sure
fine.
Party.
Let them go in a row. Go ahead. You got it.
What committees would you like to be on?
I think you're supposed to look at the camera or something like that.
Sorry. What committees would you like to be on when you get into Congress?
Appropriations. I mean, people say that's a very bold thing for a freshman to ask for, but I'm a Jamaican from the Bronx. We ask for these kinds of things, right?
Could use a little boldness in that building.
Desperately.
Mm-hmm.
Desperately. I just think appropriation be one, and then education. I mean, because I just think it just changes the dynamic of everything, right? You know, we're in a scenario where you have kids where books are being banned, where people are wondering if their loans will be forgiven. You have colleges that are capitulating. It's just exhausting, right? And I think you have to reimagine education in this moment to really do things differently here, right? But I want to go back to an earlier comment when you talk about boldness in that building.
Yeah.
There's no acceptable answer to me agreeing to end the shutdown, but not keeping healthcare. There's no. And look, I get it. When people are like, shutdowns going on, it's hard on people. I was like, you're absolutely right. There was also this thing like the Montgomery bus boycott. Right? There was also like people trying to figure out like black and white water fountains. So like you talking to me about like how do we make it 40 to 45 days is outrageous to me when what you're essentially saying to people is you're losing your health care. Right? And so committees are essential, right? And I do that there, no question. But I also think the right voices are important. And Richie Torres has effectively become a villain across the country among the Democratic Party because he's not doing anything to help our people. But look in reverse. The district right next to Richie is AOC. Right? Like it shows you that someone cannot be in your state and can inspire a community. Transformational way, right? You know, you look at Texas right now. Jasmine and James, both for very different reasons, have the country on fire right now, right? James is part of a crew of like, yeah, we're not getting down with this nonsense of you just trying to like take our seats. We're just not going to do this. Jasmine, brilliant lawyer, was a legislator before being in Congress, who every single time she gets on the mic, she just lays into them, right? Brilliantly. And so I'm answering your committee question with the ones I just gave, right? But I also think you just have to have the right people in place because it creates a broader dynamic in this moment. And I would probably tie it together. I would need to figure out which would have the greatest impact when it comes to wage growth, right? Because if you're not helping people make more money while reducing cost, everything else is you're playing backwards at this point, right? Like, it's great to talk to people about saving democracy. They can't hear that if they're like, I can't pay my bill, right? I was in the state of Washington to speak to the Washington Black Caucus. 14 Black caucus members in the state legislative caucus, largest legislative Black caucus west of the Mississippi. And what I said to them is, it's appropriate that you are our number 14. Because when someone gets their paycheck on the first of the month, they're trying to figure out how they can make it 14 days to the next check. And the policies you put in place help or hurt them tremendously. And so I would tie it to figure out what committee gives the greatest impact to do that. That's why y'all signed the media release form, so you can ask me these questions. So.
Thank you so much for sharing your passion and your why. And I think this also picks up on a little bit what you're just talking about related to the different committees. What do you hope your legacy would be as you're in Congress? What do you want your lasting legacy to be?
Poverty is a policy. Poverty and being or feeling poor are different things, right? Because a person doesn't really know their poverty level, but they know when they feel poor. They know when they can't pay their bills. And keep it a buck. Someone can have multiple jobs, multiple degrees, and still trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. Because as you go up the ladder, things become more expensive, right? And there's more things you do. I want to end poverty in this country. And I do believe that that can be done. Same thing like institutionalized racism. Sometimes people are like, well, how do you break that? Well, the reality is there are pieces in place that are hurting our communities intentionally. And when we think about this, I go back to housing as an example. I still have not had someone give me a good reason. Why do we still use credit scores on housing applications? Still I've not heard a legitimate answer, because you're effectively blocking out people from access to housing. And then you have income limits on these applications. So you effectively have to be poor enough or rich enough to get access to affordable housing. So you're essentially telling people, you can't make more money to move up in life, or you have to make a substantial jump to get a chance. That's just wrong, right? And I think that if we can be a part of that generation that breaks that, that would be that legacy. And within that, from a policy standpoint, I do believe we have to reimagine education in this country. We're in a scenario where you have kids having lunch at 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., because there's no space in the school. That's nonsensical to me. So then the kid is going to be hungry for 5.5 hours. You're hungry, you can't focus. That doesn't make any sense, right? You know, we have to think about, how do you have more paid apprenticeships? Not everyone's going to go to four-year school. Not everyone should, quite frankly, right? And to break the judgment and the stigma that gets associated with that, right? And so to reimagine, how do you break and end poverty? You have to reimagine education. And I do think we're in that reckoning moment that is coming in this country. And if I can be a part of that legacy, then that has made my legacy complete.
All right, we have another question, I think. And what's your name? Will you tell us?
My name is Gary. Just excited to be here and been a supporter of Mike Blake for years now. I think I remember he came to my church back in Harlem. I forget which race this was, but I've been a supporter since then. I've been living in LA for the last 3 years, and so happy to have you on this coast doing what you do best, man. And my question is just related to the Bronx, right? And as a New Yorker growing up in Harlem, the Bronx is known as the forgotten borough, right? That's the stigma. And I think what you said around this administration is exhausting us. And I think our politics, our democracy is spiraling into this space of scarcity when there's actually so much, right? There's so much abundance and things to be excited for. So my question is, what can we get excited about for the Bronx, for the people of the Bronx? Or what excites you for the people of the Bronx?
I don't remember what election it was, but I'm sure it was a good election. Right? Right? The Bronx. There was a time where I've been honored to teach 3 times. I taught at Monroe College, I taught at NYU, taught at Harvard. And one time I was teaching at Harvard, and this is tied to your question, Gary, where I had finished teaching, and you have study hours. It was an undergrad and grad program I was doing, and this one gentleman came over to me, and he's like, I don't want you to take offense to my question because it's actually a positive comment I'm about to make. I said, okay. Well, when someone starts like that, you're like, okay, where, right? Like, let me buckle up right here, right? Right. And he said, where I live in France, anytime I would hear Le Bronx, it meant the mess. I was like, really? He's like, literally. He's like, anytime I heard about the Bronx, and he said, you are the first person that I've interacted with from the Bronx that is totally not that perception. He's like, that's all people, they always spoke about it so negatively, right? And I valued the conversation because too many people think that way. Right? So to your question, the Bronx is the home of hip hop, doo-wop, and salsa. Right? New York 15, this congressional district, has Yankee Stadium, has Botanical Garden, has Bronx Zoo, and it has Fordham Road. Fordham Road is the busiest commercial street per square foot in America. In America. And the only place that has a busier activity in terms of commercial activity is the Mall of Americas in Minneapolis. Only one. But yet, it's the poorest district in the country. So think about that. So you literally have a street where, if any of you have been to New York, come up to the Bronx, we also have Little Italy, like the real Little Italy's in the Bronx. You have all these things, but yet there's such poverty. Why is such poverty? Because it's so many seasonal jobs and so much based just upon retail. And you have a lot of people not focused on a full time, so you can't grow your benefits. Right? So one of the many things that I would love to do is, how do we reimagine sports and entertainment to be a part of a continual culture, even when the game's not happening? Right? How do you think about a World Cup where the final is going to be at MetLife, but you will have games happening out in LA, right? And all over the country and all over the world, quite frankly. Or you prepare for an Olympics in 28 in LA, where clearly you're going to have a drum beat that will happen in New York as well. Music. Every one of us have our different playlists. My Spotify list is called Reverend Ratchet, right? Right? That's that's the actual name of it, right? Very accurate there, right? So like, to that degree, you got to find those ways to be creative in that space. And so I would love for people to pull up, see how sports, culture, and entertainment can be intertwined, because then you'll think about things differently. I don't want people just to fly in to New York and feel like I have to go everywhere else to have a good time. I want you to come to the Bronx, see what's possible, and see that you have a member of Congress who actually can change the game.
And did we have one more hand? Yeah, we did.
Oh,
there we go.
No pressure.
And kindly remind everyone who you are.
Oh, yes. Hi, my name is Brooke. I'm married to Michael Blake. And yes, I have a question for you, Mr. Blake. I always ask this question. First, let me say, I think you are wonderful, amazing, and I know that you're going to do amazing things, and I will be with you all the way. So my question is, what is the pathway to success? How are you going to win this race?
With Brooke.
It's the only answer.
Wow, that was a good answer right there. Well done. I've been trained well right there. This is a district that, with your help, we're going to go to Congress. Right? It's a district where my old assembly district that I represented for 6 years is completely in the congressional district. That's probably the second largest amount of votes in the district itself. It's a district that's 41% of the vote going to be African American. And if we do what we need to do, you know, Jack and Jill families, Alpha, 100 Black Men, churches, Masons, etc., will have a great base, a Caribbean diaspora as well. It's a district that Mayor-elect Mamdani, soon to be mayor, won every assembly district in the general election, despite the attacks against him. I actively cross-endorsed and campaigned for him. Richie Torres actively did everything to hurt his campaign. Never endorsed him. And I do think voters are not going to forget that. The district has become younger, it's become more diverse, which has been very exciting. It's a district that about 37% Latino, about 15% white, about 7% South Asian, which having the endorsement of the Alliance South Asian is going to be very important because that's a mobilizing force that can show up there. But again, we'll keep it a buck. We need people to help us raise money because we are running against a man who has a very large war chest, who has taken positions for the purpose of raising money for himself. And so you raise money so that, look, a campaign is a small business. Just make it very practical here, right? You raise money so that you can have paid media to tell your story and that you can have a field campaign to go knock on doors and make phone calls. And so we need people to help us with both of those there. December 31st, March 30th are the two fundraising deadlines that are approaching. We do that, we feel very confident here. And we have multiple paths to victory. There's others in the race who are not Democrats, right? You have a guy who's running for the Party of Social Liberation. He's not running in the primary. You have another one who's a part of the LaRouchian Party. I'm not exactly sure how that connects here in that regard. You have someone that's running DSA. There's essentially like three real Democrats in this race, competitive Democrats, I should say, well, I was being one. But we have to be very disciplined. So I say this to say, anybody you know that lives in New York that can pull up and come knock on doors with us, we need them. Anyone who lives anywhere around the world, you can help us make phone calls, which we need. But, very granular. We need people to help us with donations. We need people to contribute. The most that you can donate to the primary is $3,500 per person, $3,500 per person. Whether it be $10, $3,500, it matters. But also you connecting with 20 people matters, right? Saying to someone, hey, put in $100, put in $50, put in $250, what it may be, allows us to grow the operation. And then this is going to move very fast. We actually have to gather signatures to get on the ballot. That's our petition process. So that will be the end of February. And the way it works, the first person that signs your petition sheets is the only one that counts. So if you sign someone's sheet today, but sign someone else's the next day, the one that got signed the second day doesn't count. But you don't know that until you submit all the signatures, which means you have to have a massive field of operation to do this correctly and well. And then absentee voting probably starts at the beginning of May. So the paths are there, the votes are there, the numbers are there. It comes back to what the boss always told us, doors and dollars. And if we do that, we'll do that well, we will win.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. I'm taking hope and discipline as my takeaway from our conversation today. Thank you all so much for your time and attention. For everybody that's here in person with us, really appreciate you. Our gracious hosts and the organizers of this event also appreciate you very much. And of course, all of you watching or listening, we'll have all of the links for you to get in touch, get involved with Michael to learn more about Leadership for Flourishing. And don't forget to click like and subscribe to spread the word. We'll see you next time. Appreciate you.